And David Solomon every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. You think about it, we rant about it. Listen to us live on Facebook.
What's up, everybody? It is Friday, and I gotta tell you, there's nothing better than saying it's Friday. What a long, incredible week, and I think the spin cycle, news cycle, travel cycle, weather cycle, burning cycle has been insane. And David, have we got an action-packed change of topic, change of format show today? Right?
Yep.
You know,
I got to tell you, Stuart, it's been crazy. And, right now, this Delta variant has sort of kicked in. And, of course, the media, being the hypocrites that it is always looking to go after your governor. But we'll talk about your governor next week. But the governor in Florida is a mean bastard who, it's his fault that there are thousands and thousands of cases. Of course, it's got to be DeSantis's fault.
Yep. You know what's really funny? We talked about the Comos yesterday. Do you know how the Comos are welcoming this new debate? And actually, you know what? This is the best thing to happen to the Comos. The sex scandal is the Comos' best dream. You want to know why? The news forgot about 10,000 dead.
The news forgot about 10,000 dead, absolutely. And I think that this is this is where we're talking about hypocrisy today, and where I'm just like, and I'll give a bunch of examples of hypocrisy. First and foremost, let's start with the politicians. The sanctimonious politicians who the do as I say, not as I do type of politicians that are out there, namely my dear friend, AOC. AOC, she is one of those people who keeps talking about she's a do-gooder, right? Her philosophies and her attitudes, and she's a wonderful person. She's just, on top of the world. She is her values and blah, blah, blah. But again, it's a do as I say, not as I do, because she went for a photo op, and guess what? She wasn't wearing a mask. And then she was like, oh, I got to put on a mask. Now, you could say that people make mistakes. I agree with you. People will make mistakes. But AOC likes to when you make a mistake, she likes to ram it down your throat. So she is a perfect example of the COVID hypocrisy. I'll give you another example of the COVID hypocrisy, and that is my dear friend and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, who himself talks about how wonderful and how great he is, and how he is just the bomb, baby. Yes, born and gas. And he's the bomb, and he's great, and he's going to tell you what to do because he knows better than you and me. And then he goes into the G7 meeting back in June, and he's not wearing a mask around politicians. And I know, with all due respect, that, hey, I'm double vaxxed, he's double vaxxed, so he says. But you know what? He didn't wear a mask. He's telling everybody else to do the same thing. Hypocrisy. Yep. Let me give you version 3, Stuart, before I hand you the baton. And I'm going to go back to the United States. And that is my other dear, sweetie friend, the one I love, Vice President Kamala Harris, who went out there and met with infected Texas Dems, and it's the media hypocrisy, because God forbid we'll make Kamala Harris look bad, but for Pete's sake, she met completely in a reckless manner with these Dems. Stuart, I'm going to pass you the ball, but you know what? I am tired of these do-gooder politicians. And we talked about this in a previous rant, I know, and we'll have more in a second.
Yep. Look at that. I shrunk you, David. Look, There's me and my wife on a plane. I'd like you all to see I'm wearing an N95 mask with my wife, just to show you that we believed that you need to have some sort of normalcy traveling in a plane, Then I want to tell you, we deboarded a plane. You see, I actually walked off a plane. I'm one of those people, not in that picture, but I'm walking off a plane. I'm traveling. And let me tell you something. It was a magnificent trip. But I would like to show you Dulles International Airport. David, is that picture big enough on your screen?
It's big. It's ridiculous. That's crazy.
Do I have to make it bigger? Perfect. Look at that. All right, guys.
Look at the sardines that you guys all look like.
Look at this. Now, I want to tell everybody where this picture is being taken, because I think you got to understand that, yeah, most people are wearing a mask. But what you don't understand, there's no social distancing. You're in an unventilated, no air conditioning. This is how you clear customs entering United States, right? So you got everybody from all over the world in one room, no social distancing, no airflow, and that's how you get it. Now, you know what? The hypocrisy still doesn't end there, because I'd like to show you the other way people are greeted in the United States. And this is a picture just leaked, just made it out. I'd like you to see all these people in a holding room, all getting a free pass into the United States. No COVID testing, no masks, no nothing. And the question that's been put up, is it really safe to travel? David, I got to tell you, I have seen a lot of nonsense, right? Yeah. But this just takes the cake. Everywhere I went in Europe. So on the plane, right? Let me pull that picture back up so we can at least understand. And I think the hypocrisy gets more clear. So let me pull this picture back up. Now, you see my wife and I, we're sitting there. We're nice. Do you see how close the seats are together? Yeah, do you see the seat? Now, you know what they do on an airplane? You must wear a mask. And then they serve you your food.
Yep.
And everyone gets food at the exact same time. Now, remember, we're sardines in a tin can. And do you know that when they feed you all at the same time? So all these masks are coming off. So why is it so important to duct tape some guy in a seat? Why is it so important to kick people, charge people, and arrest people? The last plane that I saw was what? 30 Democrats on a plane? None of them wearing a mask? Come on. You know, America, come on, Canada. Whoever you are and you're watching this, there is hypocrisy. Listen, COVID is real. Delta virus is real. The infection rate is pretty damn strong, and the people dying are unvaccinated. You know, why doesn't the FDA get approval, clear the air? Why are there double standards? David, I am frustrated, and I just traveled.
Well, I'll give you another hypocrisy that I'm trying to get through also. And I mean, I love this picture, and it just goes to my next point. So as a Canadian, I cannot take my car. I live 45 minutes away from the U.S.-Canadian border. And if I were to take my car and wanted to cross into the United States, Stuart, I cannot. Why? Because back a year and a half ago, both countries agreed to close the borders, shut tight, call it whatever. And every month they say, okay, we're going to extend it, we're going to extend it, we're going to extend it. And you know what's ridiculous, though, is that if I got on a plane, I could fly into the United States virtually no problem. Hypocrisy at its best. Hypocrisy part 2 about that. Okay? Now, a double vaxxed Canadian was told, you can't come into the United States. But we've opened up our borders to Americans, and you guys have to prove you're double vaxxed. I wonder how you're going to do that. I mean, really, I don't know. So Americans are going to be able to cross the border with their cars into Canada. We can't go to the United States. We have a higher vaccination rate right now, and not only the first, but the 2 doses, and the border's closed. And here's the reason why the Biden administration says the border is closed, because Mexico is a mess. What the hell does the Mexican border have to do with the Canadian border?
Well, absolutely, because we're letting all these immigrants in, and some of them want to go up to Canada.
No, this is no, that's nothing to do with it. It's the fact that Canadians, to come into the United States, are more responsible. They help the economy. They will listen. The border cities right now are crying because Canadians have been really the backbone of so many of the livelihoods in Buffalo, Plattsburgh, New York. You go all the way along the coastline, and they're not coming across the border. And so we can help the American economy, especially in those cities. And the Vermont governors, New York governors go all along the borders all the way out to the state of Washington. And they're begging the Biden administration, open up his own party, open up the goddamn border, for God's sake. And you know what the answer is? No.
You know, where's Bernie Sanders? Doesn't Vermonts Economy Where doesn't their economy live off of this whole thing?
Well, maple syrup is one of their favorite things, but they're not going to ship it to Canada. But the truth is that Vermont needs Canadian tourists, for Pete's sake, to come to ski up in Jay Peak. That was a big business for them. That whole area, that's now gone. It's not happening for the second. It will be the second winter in a row if you don't open up the borders. The hypocrisy, Stuart, that I see consistently is it's nonsensical policies. And I'll quote my good friend Terry Roberts. Terry, I hope you're listening, buddy. You're running for a member of parliament here in Canada. Hopefully you're going to affect change here in this dumb country, But he made a funny comment to me the other day, and I think I may have mentioned this on one rant, is that absolutely the governments are using science to make their policies. But it's political science is what they're using. They're not using medical science. They're not using real science. They're using, basically, it's the whim of how the vote will go in order
So political science, political gain. I mean, where does it end? I'm just finding this picture here.
I'll give you, Stuart, I'll give you another example of hypocrisy. CNN fired 3 employees who came to work unvaccinated, right? And the companies are starting to mandate these shots. Okay, and it's interesting. But when Chris Cuomo went out, and while he was COVID positive,
you mean Chris Cuomo, Chris Creepy Cuomo's brother?
No, Andrew Cuomo's creepy brother.
No, they're both creepy.
Whatever. They're all creepy.
They're both creepy.
But the funny thing about Chris Cuomo was that he left his home and he says, "Oh, I'm fine. I'm good. I stayed away from people, whatever. You were supposed to stay home for 14 freaking days. You weren't supposed to leave your home." And he left his home, and CNN didn't fire him. So this hypocrisy is ridiculous. Companies are right now saying that they want to mandate vaccinations.
New York wants to do that, city. But just so you know, Dave, just to put it on the screen, there is how you prove you're double vaccinated.
Yeah.
But I got a joke for you.
Yeah.
Do you know that on eBay you can buy a blank vaccination card?
Stuart, we know that people have already been arrested here for fake vaccination cards. My vaccination card I can access with a QR code. We're going to put in, the government of Quebec announced this week that they're going to make vaccine passports mandatory for people to go to gyms and restaurants and bars and whatever. The crazy thing is that we are not using sense. We're using votes to make these decisions. And the hypocrisy that continues to reign is that it doesn't make a hell of a lot of sense right now what's going on. We're just flying.
Did it ever make sense, David? Did it ever make sense?
But you know what? Listen, and all due respect to the politicians, none of us were alive during the last pandemic. So we don't know what this is like. And the way things are going, we're not sure. But I think my father-in-law keeps talking about there's sense and there's common sense. And right now they're not using common sense. And so when you have a politician who says, don't travel, and then they travel for vacations, like my member of parliament did, he decided he was going to go, he had to go see his sick his wife's grandmother was sick and he had to travel to the United States. Why, I can't go. None of us can go. So what gave him the right? So it's the sanctimonious attitude, that hypocrisy. It's like, do as I say, not as I do. When an AOC stands up and says, everybody should wear a mask, and she doesn't, or Nancy Pelosi, who says wear a mask and doesn't wear a mask, and others, it's like, you know what, guys, put it to bed. Give me a break.
But Nancy Pelosi got her hair done when it was 100% lockdown. I can get my hair done.
Stuart, I had hair I had an afro out to here because I didn't go get a haircut. But Nancy, listen, she's on TV. She's got to look good. I am sick and tired of and now it's corporations, the CNNs, the Coca-Colas of this world are now getting into this whole attitude. Look, guys, I'm sorry to say, but be really careful what you're doing here, because someone's going to nail your ass in the C-suite because you're being a hypocrite. Governor Newsom went to eat in a restaurant when everybody else couldn't do it, and then we apologized because the apology.
I got a follow-up. I got a quick follow-up. Yeah. In the recent news, a number of these you talked about Ben and Jerry's Lever.
Sure.
Yep. So do you know what's going on now? Many of the franchises are owned by Jews. And you know what they're hanging outside their store? Israeli fags.
Yeah, but that's let's not go down the road of Ben and Jerry's. We're here to talk about COVID hypocrisy and COVID hypocrisy.
I mean, it's 15 minutes. We're done.
It's COVID hypocrisy, and we're tired of the government doing it. Guys, we're done for this week.
Yeah.
It's another week has come and gone. The first week of August has come and gone. We'll be back next time, and we're going to come up with some really hard-hitting stuff. And speaking of hypocrisies, how many more times can the media pick on a governor who's actually making the difference, a real difference, but the media doesn't want to let you know it?
Do you want to tell them who it's about?
Hey, listen, it's your buddy, Governor Ron DeSantis. We love this guy, but be really careful, people. Be careful about what you criticize and what the media is doing to this guy.
Yeah, you want to know something? You know why they got to pick on him?
Sure.
Because he is the man to beat. And you know what? You know why they're not talking about Kamala Harris? Because they want to pit Kamala Harris against Ron DeSantis. And let me tell you something. It's not David and Goliath, right? It is one dumb fuck, Kamala Harris, who should be literally impeached and arrested for the stupidity that she ranks, vice president, versus Governor Ron DeSantis. Absolutely. And you know what? I like Ron DeSantis.
Next week. Folks, listen to us. Listen, share us, love us. We love you. Check us out on all the regular podcasting, sites that you go to. Check us out on YouTube. Check us out on the rantnetwork.com. Check us out on Facebook. On that note, we love you. Have yourselves all a wonderful weekend.